Dr. Sri Banerjee, and I'm the chair. Today is April 24th, 2024. The time is now 3:06 Eastern Time. And here with us is committee member Dr. Chester Jones and student Momo Johnson. And he has a presentation on diabetes among African immigrants. So let me share these slides, and then Momo, when you want to go to the next slide, please let me know.
Okay.
Are you?
There's some. Okay. Yes, I'm getting
All
it
right.
now. You ready? Okay.
All
The
right.
title of
Ready.
yeah, my name is Momo Johnson. The title of my study is the association between lifestyle and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants in the United States. Next, introduction. First of all, what is diabetes? It is a lifelong chronic disease in which there are high level of sugar in the blood. Introduction. Diabetes is one of the chronic diseases and excuse me, affect over 25.8 million people or 8.3% of the United States population. It affects both immigrants and American society. As such, diabetes has become a public challenge in the United States. Type 2 diabetes is the most common form of diabetes among African immigrants living in the United States. Physical inactivity, insecure diet, and improper stress supervision are cooperatively common among African immigrants living in the United States. Once inactive lifestyle unite with unsecure diet and inadequate stress supervision, obesity bound to occur, thus leading to high incidence of diabetes that results in many diabetes complications. Next, problem statement. Unhealthy lifestyle behavior are placing African immigrants at increased rate of type 2 diabetes. These high risk lifestyle behavior include lack of exercise, excessive alcohol intake, choice of diet, and cultural adaptations. African-born immigrants consume high-fat beef and low intake of vegetable and fruits compared to food secure households in the United States. In addition, cultural adaptation is linked with length of stay in the United States and consists of consumption of low fruits and vegetables, greater use of red meat, high sugary beverages, and starches food. The perceptions of African immigrants towards physical activity and their reasons for showing low interest. I have here the determinant human behavior. I have connective factor, also called personal factor. Personal factors, that means the knowledge you have towards the subject, your expectation towards it, and your attitude towards what you want to do. For example, like physical activity. Then we have environment, social norms, access in community, influence on other, that is the ability to change own environment. Then we have behavior. Behavior will look at skills, practice, and self-efficacy. The gap in the literature. Whelan and all 2015 also joined other researchers in defending the outcome of other studies where African immigrants in the United States gave reason for paying less attention to lifestyle, even though they accept the benefit of exercise and other lifestyle activity and recommended additional study. In seeking to find these to fill these gaps, variation of diabetes lifestyle behavior study will examine the relationship between physical activity, food insecurity, cultural perception, and other lifestyle practices among African immigrants living in the United States. The purpose of this study. The purpose is to examine the association between lifestyle and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants living in the United States. Is to examine the lifestyle that include food preferences, lack of physical activity, which are high risk factors for type 2 diabetes. To examine other high risk factors, including overweight, stress, family history of diabetes, inactivity, and alcohol consumption. The significance of the study, because type 2 diabetes is at epidemic level across the United States. Two, because diabetes is a disease that leads to other chronic illnesses that are risk factor among African immigrants who enter the United States with healthy lifestyle. Diabetes was among the 10 principal causes of death in the United States in 2018, and the sixth leading cause of death in Minnesota, where vast number of African immigrants live. Because study on African immigrant life changes that link to diabetes has limited attention. Research question. Question one. Is there a relationship between lifestyle in that smoking and drinking, physical activity, inactivity, and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants in the United States? The hypothesis says there is no relationship between lifestyle, physical inactivity, and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants in the United States. The second hypothesis says there is a relationship between lifestyle, physical inactivity, and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants in the United States. Question two says, asks, Is there a relationship between food insecurity, the environment, and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants in the United States? Hypothesis says there is a relationship. Let me see here. I think there was some. The first, it should be there is no relationship between food insecurity, the environment, and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants in the United States. That should be one. And then two, there is a relationship between food insecurity, the environment, and type 2 diabetes among African immigrants in the United States. Summary of the result. In summary, when tested for additive effect of each inflammatory marker, physical activity, alcohol intake, food insecurity, and the free total ratio on diabetes after controlling for known risk factor, there was a significant effect found for lifestyle, alcohol, physical inactivity. However, for the free total ratio, there was a non-significant additive effect when controlling for other environmental risks. We have the variable for question number one, the O ratio, the 95% confidence interval, and the p-value. For age, we have the O ratio is 0.95, and the confidence interval falls between 0.92 and 0.97, and the p-value is less than 0.001. For gender, we have 0.64, and the 95% confidence interval for between 0.22 and 1.86. The p-value is 0.41. For smoking, the O ratio is 2.02, and the 95% confidence interval falls between 0.73 and 5.62. The p-value 0.18. For drinking, the O ratio is 2.81, and the confidence interval is 1.03 to and 7.65, with the p-value of 0.4. Physical activity, the O ratio is 1.69, and the 95% confidence interval falls between 0.66 and 4.34, the p-value of 1.28. The body mass index is 1.00, and the 95% confidence interval fall between 0.98 and 1.02, with p-value of 92, might be 0.92. The second question is is the O ratio of age is 0.94. Yeah, it's 0.94, and the confidence interval is fall between 0.92 and 97, with the p-value of less than 0.001. With gender, the O ratio is 0.64, and the confidence interval is the fall between 1.22 and 1.86, with a p-value of 0.40. For smoking, is point is 1.92, and the confidence interval is 0.73, it fall between 0.73 and 5.62. The p-value is 0.22. For draining, the O ratio is 2.53, and the confidence interval fall between 0.91 and 7.65, with the p-value of 0.08. Physical activity, the O ratio is 1.67, and the 95% confidence interval is 0.66 and 4.34, with a p-value of 0.03. Full insecurity, the O ratio is 3.89, and the 95% confidence interval fall between 1.21 and 12.51, with a p-value of 0.02. The body mass here is 1.00, and the 95% confidence interval fall between 0.98 and 1.03, and the p-value is 0.83. Look for age. We say here the probability of diabetes occurring based on one unit change in age when all other independent variables are kept constant. Decreasing age was associated with increased likelihood of exhibiting diabetes, 0.94, and the p-value here is less 0.01, making the relationship statistically significant. The 95% confidence interval is between 0.92 and 0.97. It means that the true effect lies between the two values. The method and design, quantitative descriptive methodology. The design provides information about human factors that affect the problem, which include individual relationships, behaviors, beliefs, emotions, and opinions. The research design would also identify tangible factors such as religion, ethnicity, gender, rules, social, economic status, and social norms. A qualitative method provides more flexibility in analyzing the data. Data collection technique, secondary data collection, the African Immigrant Type 2 Diabetes Primary Data Collection Center. The statistical package to be used is SPSS, Statistical Package for Social Science. Participants, sample size, secondary data, target population, African immigrant population living in the United States. Inclusion and exclusion criteria for participants. African immigrant, male and female, living in the United States. living in the African that do not have diabetes will not, will be excluded. Age between 18 and 80 years will be included. Less than 18 will be excluded. The operational measure variable. The variable research question data code type 2 diabetes. Have type 2 diabetes, yes or no? So, and then, but 2 equal yes, 1 is no. Physical activity once a week, 2 twice a week, 3 3 times a week, 4 not a week. Gender type 1 is male, which is nominal, and 2 is female. Full preference, full 1 equal non-secure or nominal, 2 secure. Age participant 118 to 45 years old, ordinary. 245 to 65 years old. 366 to 75 years old. 476 to 90 years old, and others. Data, data analysis. IBM SPSS statistic 2 should be 24 will be used. Multiple logistic regression, uh, lifestyle, physical activity, food choice, portion size, and stress weight is a modifier of co-founding age, gender, income, and ethnicity. Social implication. The implication for the community, this study will make them to be aware of the diabetes prevalence and type 2 diabetes mortality. They will be aware of the rates of limb amputation and blindness. This will change the cultural behavior towards physical activity, and it will improve food choice and portion size. The limitation, since this is a secondary data analysis, the consequent bias casualty cannot be inferred. Information bias may have occurred during data collection or secondary data. Statistics may reflect biases that limit finding. Representative of study may not be of large size.
Do you want me to go to next slide, Momo?
Yeah, the next one. The summary. In conclusion, lifestyle and environment had a connection with type 2 diabetes among African immigrants, even after controlling for demographic variable. For those individuals in the immigrant population from Africa, there are many unique differences they face in the diagnosis and management of chronic diseases such as, chronic conditions such as diabetes. Even though there was contradictory information in the literature, The dissertation, alcohol consumption was found to be connected with diabetes diagnosis. Implication again, additionally, age was a demographic factor that had a significant association with diabetes among African immigrants. This knowledge has major implications for positive social change in the healthcare professional, and patients should give as much attention to diabetes risk factor among the general population as they do to risk factor of diabetes among African immigrants. The knowledge may allow for greater awareness and intervention of how diabetes can be addressed and managed based on the differential risk factor among African immigrants. By driving social change, this disenfranchised population can be empowered to address the risk factor of chronic disease. Thanks to you. Thank to you. Thanks so much for being there. It means the world to know that both of you care. And I really appreciate you people. I appreciate you, Dr. June. I appreciate you, Chair, because I spent a lot of time on this dissertation with Dr. Gatura. She would ask me to do primary. I would go almost like 85%, and she said, no, change back to secondary. I was doing secondary at first. Then she said, no, do primary. And we spent time on that without moving anywhere. But when they changed how they brought you people in less than a year, I can say within 4 months, I'm here today uh, defending my dissertation. So I thank you people and I bless God for you people. Thank you.
Momo, thank you. Thank you for that great presentation. I want to hand this over to Dr. Jones, and then I'll go ahead and ask my questions.
Momo, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, great presentation. Nice job. One question I had is, what was your, would you say was your strongest finding, and what does it do for, what does it change for current interventions into what could be the future interventions to address this issue amongst this population?
I didn't get the question too clear because we're like breaking in.
What's that?
I didn't get your question because we're breaking in.
Okay. Um, what was the strongest finding you believe from your study?
Oh, the strongest one was it was I can say two of them was age. That once you are aging, it's possible. The probability exists that you will get diabetes and drinking alcohol. So actually, the two areas I can say was alcohol, food insecurity, and age.
So, does that um, what does that mean for future interventions? Does it change anything from current interventions for this population dealing with diabetes?
Yeah, the population, if the African immigrant or the community leaders look at this and then follow it up maybe through presentation, through conferences or meeting. I think it will change something. It will change something towards the way people are taking diabetes and the way they are taking physical activity. And with the food insecurity, it will take it will take time because prices of real food, like you go to the whole store to buy food, is very expensive compared to when you go to
Mm.
the other store where they have cheap food.
Mhm. Mm. Good. Yeah, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, for those great questions. I think I'm gonna revisit the point. How is this a unique intervention, and what types of interventions can be developed from this? And due to African immigrants being a unique group of population, their diet is different than
Yeah,
the regular population, where there are a lot of carbohydrate dense foods, for instance, fufu, and
sure.
as I've been made aware. And there's a use of cassava, and that's a very carbohydrate dense plant. And so these sorts of different diets and everything else, I think can, make a difference. And I think this is something that Momo alluded to. So thank you for that, Dr. Jones. Um,
Yeah,
right. I had a couple of questions here, Momo.
yeah.
Right. Why did you end up using multiple years? I know in your dissertation, you said that you used from 2011 to 2018. That's a lot of years. Why did you select that many years?
Yes, when you are analyzing data, that if you need a better decision, you need more information, and you need decision that identify the correlation and the trend across the data source. So in order to get these things, you have to use multiple years for
I agree, Bomo. That was a great answer. Just to kind of reframe that, you want to include multiple years so that this makes power. And what that means is that you're able to see the observable effects at that sample size, rather than what you would have otherwise seen. Um,
yeah,
uh, African immigrants, there weren't that many in the sample. So we had to kind of extend that and be sure to make sure that we can actually find differences. So, no, great answer. Um, um, so you said there were a number of findings that are not statistically significant with diabetes. I believe physical activity was one that wasn't related. Is there a reason that that should be an important finding, or do you just kind of let that go?
I think it should be included. It should be included. Physical activity or inactivity bound because if you are not moving, you are not moving and you just sitting, you eat, you sit down, the first thing you will start getting obese. And obesity will lead to diabetes. And then diabetes will start bringing other complications. But as you are moving, the blood is circulating, your muscles working, starting them up, it will help. So I think we should include physical activity. Physical
Um,
activity is one. Because in other
I'm just
sources,
trying to
maybe
go to your research questions. So what I'm trying to say, and I think you kind of answered this. First of all, you're very physically active as we have talked on the phone. Um, in terms of physical, and this was a finding that was odd because body mass index, obesity, that's known to be associated with diabetes. However,
Yeah.
in African immigrants, that is not statistically significant.
No.
So that in itself is an important finding because why is there a difference between how Africans experience diabetes versus African Americans,
Yeah.
a lot of American natives, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, what type of study was this? Was this a cross-sectional study or a longitudinal study?
It was cross sectional.
Correct. And the reason this is cross-sectional is because this was data collected at one period of time,
Yeah.
one point in time rather than going, longitudinally.
Yeah.
So that's great
Cross
answer.
sectional.
Mhm, mhm. You did say somewhere that you had descriptive statistics. Is that the only type of statistics you had, or were there others?
It's like analytic versus descriptive. The descriptive describe the characteristic of the population you focusing on
Mhm,
and what occurred.
mhm,
And the analytic, you seek to understand the why, the how, and the phenomena occur. Why and how they occur in analytics. So you seek to go, you do more in analytical than descriptive.
Yeah, great answer. Just to add to that, so with analytic statistics, you're actually looking at in terms of confounding variables, controlling for confounding variables, and you're looking to control for those in an analytic version versus a descriptive version where you're just looking at two variables rather than multiple variables. So, just some things to keep in mind as you're, going out there in the public. I've gone over most of these. One comment that I'll make, Momo, and we've been working on this. One comment that I'll make is, when you're giving a presentation in a kind of a more professional setting, and this is professional, you want to make sure that you're doing more than reading the slides. You want to make sure that you're including some of your ideas in there so that it doesn't seem like you're reading. So. Um, Again, I wanted to say I didn't have any more questions. So I wanted to thank you for being such a great student. You've come across and you've really made strides, and I'm proud of you. Um,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Jones, Dr. Jones, did you have any other comments, or did you want to come to a common consensus?
I don't have any other comments. Yeah, and I can iterate what you said. It seen a lot of progress and just a nice job. Well done, Momo. Yeah, I can
Thank
come to
you.
consensus.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, so we can agree that Momo can move on.
Yes, yes, we can. Yep.
All right. Well, this is a momentous occasion, Momo. Congratulations, Dr. Johnson. This is great. I've been waiting for this. I'm proud of you. And I know you've been waiting for this, a long time. And do celebrate this. Don't just go to the gym and spend the whole time doing that. Go celebrate. Do something that you wouldn't usually do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Thank
Mhm.
you. That'll
Mhm,
be
mhm,
okay. I
mhm.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm. All right.
Okay.
Mhm. All right. We'll chat on the phone and then.
Okay, then.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm, mhm.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
You're welcome. Congrats
Mhm.
again, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, God.